Hi guys, it's Jess Minus Fiction and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing my favorite books that feature the student-teacher trope. Alright guys, so I have 5 books on this list that feature the student-teacher trope. Now, if you're familiar with my channel, you know that I work in education, so I've not always been the biggest fan of the student-teacher trope. However, I've recently changed my mind. So I've been reading a lot of books that feature student-teacher that I really enjoy, so I'm so excited to talk about these books with you guys. Now, I understand this is a little bit of a taboo recommendations video, so if you're not a fan of the student-teacher trope, please click out. I totally get it. Now, if you're unfamiliar with my channel, I post new videos every Thursday and Sunday. If you haven't yet, please like and subscribe. You can also hit the notification bell to be notified whenever I post new bookish content. You can also check out my Instagram and Goodreads, both linked down below. With all that out of the way, let's talk about these taboo recs. All right, so starting this list off with one of my favorites, we have Dark Notes, and this is by Pam Godwin. So this is following Ivory, and she's had a very troubled past. She is living in poverty, and she's actually selling her body and able to provide for herself and be able to go to this very kind of pretentious school that she's currently enrolled in. So Emmerich is, I believe, in his 30s, and he is a new teacher starting at Ivory School, and he was recently fired from his last position for having a very interesting relationship with another faculty member. So already he kind of has this sordid past, and all the faculty's kind of looking out for him, but Ivory and Emmerich soon form a relationship, and he kind of becomes her protector and takes her under his wing, and I loved this book so much. I ended up reading this in one sitting, which tends to happen with Pam Godwin's books. She writes very dark but emotional romances that you could just get completely lost in. So I would definitely check trigger warnings. Like I said, Ivory does have a very troubled past, and they do get into a lot of graphic imagery of like what's happening with her, but overall this was so good. It also has BDSM. Emmerich is really interested in some very interesting kinks, so check that out. But highly recommend, if you have not read this yet, check it out if you like a good student-teacher romance. And next up is a book that I actually just finished, and that is Sweet Dandelion by Micalea Smeltzer. I talked about her other books, A Confession of Wildflowers and A Resurrection of Wildflowers. It's a duet that's really popular right now. That's Age Gap, so good, check it out. But Sweet Dandelion is a student teacher. It's actually student guidance counselor, and it's following Dandelion, who's recently been involved in a school shooting where she lost her mother, and she is just dealing with that. She's moved in with her older brother, and they're just trying to heal. So when she goes to a new school, the guidance counselor assigned to her is 29-year-old Lachlan. And he immediately, they just have instant chemistry and they understand each other, and soon a relationship blossoms. Now this is very taboo because it is a guidance counselor who's supposed to be helping an underage, or she's not underage, she is 18, but she's helping a student deal with her trauma, and they form this sexual relationship. But I ended up really enjoying this. So when this first started, I was very much against the whole guidance counselor student trope. That is just too close to home for me, but it worked with this book. Very emotional read. Like I said, check trigger warnings, just dealing with everything that happened. She's dealing with PTSD, but I really did enjoy the relationship. I will talk about this more in my April wrap-up. I do think it could have been better if it was done in POV. I would have loved to hear what Lachlan was thinking when he was having this relationship with a student, but overall, very good, very emotional. Definitely check it out. All right, and next up we have Lessons in Corruption by Giana Darling. This is the first book in the Fallen MC series. I have a full spoiler-free series review that I will leave linked in the cards and in the description, but I absolutely love this series. I have tried a few other motorcycle romances since reading this series, and nothing comes close, so definitely check that series out. But this is following Cressida and King. So this is a little bit different because Cressida is actually the teacher and King is the student. And when Cressida was 18 years old, she ended up marrying one of her parents' friends, and she's just had a very unhappy marriage. And then one day when she's grocery shopping, she ends up seeing this very striking gentleman laughing in the parking lot, and she realizes that she needs to break up with her husband. So she goes home, files for divorce, and then gets a teaching job. So one day when she goes to the bar after teaching with her friends, she sees that same striking gentleman across the bar, and they have instant chemistry. We find out that he is the son of the president of a motorcycle club, and they just get along really well. Until Monday, when Cressida realizes that King is actually her student. So it goes from there. I was so worried I was gonna hate this book. I really wanted to read the series, but was actually gonna skip the first one. I'm so happy I didn't. I loved Cressida and King, and Giana Darling writes Spice very, very well, and just everything that these two have to go through. And there's actually another book in the same series about the same couple, so it's really, really good. So if you haven't read Lessons in Corruption yet, please check it out. Highly recommend. All right, so the last two on this list are actually coach and student relationships. So first up, we have Kulti by Mariana Zapata. So this is a soccer romance. It is following Sal, who her entire life she has been obsessed with a soccer player named Kulti. Since she was a child, her and her family just grew up watching him and following his career. So then Sal ends up becoming a very good soccer player herself, and Kulti ends up becoming her coach. Unfortunately, he pretty much wants nothing to do with her, and it's them kind of dealing with each other. It's very Grumpy Sunshine. I love this. This is one of my favorite Mariana Zapata books. It is so good. Definitely age gap and also student teacher or coach teacher. I think there's about a 20-year age gap, and he is her coach. So also forbidden, but so, so good. Highly recommend. Please, if you have not picked this book up yet, check it out. And last up, we have another coach and student romance, and that is Waking Olivia by Elizabeth O'Rourke. So this is following Olivia, who has gotten a scholarship to a school for running track. She's very, very good at running. Unfortunately, she has a certain condition or this type of insomnia that is causing her to run miles at night, and this is really impacting how she performs at track meets. And now she has this reputation of not really caring about the sport, and Will, her new coach, really wants nothing to do with her and wants her to stop the attitude, and they form a relationship, and it goes from there. I really enjoyed this. It was a very unique story, finding out a lot about Olivia's past and why she has this insomnia, and Will is just such a good guy. So once again, this actually is an age gap. I think there's only like 7 or 8 years between them, but still student teacher, still forbidden. They're not supposed to be in a relationship, but I really love this and highly recommend picking it up. All right, guys, those are all my favorite books with the student-teacher trope. Please let me know down in the comments below what your favorite books are that feature that trope. Now, I said this already, but I post new videos every Thursday and Sunday, and if you haven't yet, please like and subscribe. I will see you all next week. Bye!